So with your vertex at the origin, you have, if your focus is, well, let's go back. If your vertex is at the origin, your parabola opening up or down, you're going to have the expression or formula written as, to express these two equations, as x squared equals 4py. Obviously, p is going to be greater than 0 in this case, and we'll talk about what p is in a moment. Or x squared is equal to 4py, with p being less than 0. And p is the distance from your vertex to your directrix, or your vertex to your focus. Because remember, the distance between these two is going to be equidistant. So your vertex to your directrix is the same distance as it is from your vertex to the focus, because it's right in the middle when your vertex is at 0, 0. So if your parabola is opening downward, it's going to be expressed by this equation with your vertex at the origin, with your p-value, your distance, being less than 0 because your parabola is pointing downward. Over on the left, you have your parabola opening up. X squared is equal to 4py. Your distance is going to be positive 0 because that's the distance between your vertex and your focus. Obviously, if you look from your vertex to your directrix, that's going to be negative p just because you're going down, so that distance. But the number of units itself is going to be the same. So if you're up 3, you're going to be down negative 3 for the directrix. Same here. If you're going to be down 3 for the focus, you're going to be up 3 for the directrix. Okay? And one way I like to think about this is that if you have x squared, your parabola is going to open up or down according to or around your x-axis. So you're starting off with your x being squared for your parabola opening up or down. With your parabola opening right or left, because this can happen, your parabola can open left or right. And if you have your parabola opening left or right with your vertex at the origin, so your vertex is at 0, 0, you can have the equation, or you will have the equation of the form y squared is equal to 4px if p is greater than 0. If it's opening to the left, y squared is equal to 4py, with p being less than 0. So in this case, your distance, obviously, for the p is going to be greater than 0 if it's going in the positive x direction. It's going to be negative 0, or less than 0 if it's going in the negative x direction. Just like it was negative when it was going, or less than 0 when it was going down, up right above, or p was greater than 0 when your parabola was opening up. Again, your p is the distance between your vertex and your focus, which means that the negative p is going to be the distance between your vertex and the directrix. Okay, same thing over here on the left, or I'm sorry, on the right. Your focus is on the left, so that distance would be p, which means the opposite direction. Negative p would be the distance between that and the directrix. In this case, with it opening to the right or the left, if you notice, your y is the variable that's actually squared instead of your x, like the ones previously listed above. Your y being squared because your parabola in this case is opening left or right of your y-axis. So in this case, your y is being squared and your x is your variable, your input. Right above, you've got your x being squared and your y being your input. So that's a couple differences and similarities across those parabolas. Just note that the focus and directrix each lie the absolute value of p units from the vertex. So again, whatever your p value is, it's going to be the same distance in units, just in the opposite direction for your directrix. So let's look at the standard equation of a parabola on the next page. So if you flip it over, the standard equation of a parabola with your vertex at the origin. The standard form of the equation of a parabola with your vertex at the origin is as follows. So your equation, and these are what we just previously talked about, so we're just writing it in this little box, so nothing really changes. X squared is equal to 4py, with your focus being at the point 0p. Your directrix will be the line at negative p, and it will be a vertical axis of symmetry when x is equal to 0. Don't worry so much about this. We're going to put this all into play in the next couple examples. The next one is y squared is equal to 4p times x. So you see the differences here. When your x is squared, your y is your inside variable. If your y is squared, your x is the inside variable. For p is the same for both of them. In this case, with your y being squared, your p and your 0 for your focus flop. Your directrix is starting with x, so x is going to be equal to negative p, and this is going to be a horizontal axis of symmetry when y is equal to 0. Okay, don't have to worry so much and memorize that piece. We're going to be able to put that in a little bit of action in just a minute, but the important piece is to remember when you have it as, flip over to the other page, x squared, let me slide this up. X squared, remember, is you have your parabola either opening up or down across or above or below your x-axis. So it's kind of a good way to remember that. X squared leads it off when you have your parabola either opening up or down depending on where your p-value is. Your p-value, that distance, always relates to your focus. Your focus will always be inside your parabola. Looking down again as a reminder, if you have a equation for a parabola where it starts with y squared means you are opening to the left or the right, so it's around your y-axis. Okay, p is greater than 0, your focus is on the inside, which means you're opening to the right. If p is less than 0, you know it's going to be opening to the left, and your y is the only squared variable. You only have one of them that's squared. Both x and y are not going to be squared.